Hi, everyone. I know you guys missed me. I know. I missed you too. So today I thought, a lot of people were saying, well, I have bipolar disorder, and a lot of the symptoms of bipolar disorder sounds like the symptoms of um, borderline. So what I thought about was, why don't I give the difference between bipolar disorder and borderline, and what are the similarities and what's the difference?
That's a great idea.
So just so you guys know, you can be diagnosed with both at the same time. So heaven help you if you are, and heaven help the people that are around you. So
I just need
we,
wine.
we love everyone here. We love everyone here, but you really uh like you really like it is definitely something like whew. So here's one of this purple. This is nothing. I usually do this on a Tuesday morning most of the time. Um so borderline, they have they have similar symptoms. So but they both are from two different axes. Borderline is an axis 1 diagnosis. So and and wait a minute, did I say borderline? Bipolar is axis 1, borderline is axis 2. And this is
Okay.
how I usually this is how I usually tell it. This is what I usually tell clients, and I say this jokingly, so please do not take it for right or for thing. If you want to get a check, you need to have an axis 1 diagnosis. They will not accept the axis 2 diagnosis. So if you're trying to get a check, an axis 1 diagnosis is what you're wanting to get. If you want to get the check, axis 1 is what you want to get. See?
I just did you know that we're taping to YouTube? We're good, right? We're
Oh,
still good.
yeah.
Or do you want me to not, do you want me to not
No,
tape
no,
to
no.
YouTube?
We're fine. Now, see, now I'm nervous. Now you shouldn't even said nothing. She's criminy.
No, I'm never gonna set you up, sis. I ain't never gonna set you up. I'm gonna let you know.
Y'all know that I'm not. Y'all know how I am. I'm always nervous when people are taping. So, but I mean that people know that. Like, ask
I'm your PR
therapy
manager,
daddy.
so
Is that not a true statement in therapy? Isn't that a true statement? Axis 1 is what you want. Is what you want to diagnose. If you want to check axis 2, you can't get. That's pretty much a clear thing. That's pretty much. You can't hear and learn thoughts. Well, I promise I will testify on that. Right. So that's what most people do. Let me turn my stuff down. Maybe that's it. Hold on.
welcome in everyone. This is Wellness Wednesday with Tender, our mental health therapist at the Lotus Lounge, and we are talking about borderline personality disorder. And she's going to describe for us the difference between bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder.
So, Purple, what word do you not use in Australia? So I can describe what it is.
I think all the words she was saying, those words.
You talking about borderline personality disorder or bipolar or borderline? Now, I will admit, in different countries, they will be called something different. They could be called something different, but usually they're not. Usually they're about around the same thing. It might not be. It might in therapy, daddy, yay or nay. They might have a different code, but not necessarily a different name. Correct? Okay, I know in Canada it's the same. It's just different codes. I know that because I have Canada clients. So But so this is okay. So put a 1 in the comments if you're not entirely, I'm not entirely certain about that either. Okay. So sometimes, Mr. Perfect, those are some symptoms of PTSD. Borderline personality disorder, and I will tell you what that is in 1 second. But what I wanted to talk about real quick about would be bipolar disorder, because bipolar disorder and borderline are commonly thrown in the same basket, so to speak. They're usually the same. People usually use those terms interchangeably, and it's not really the same thing. So bipolar it used to be called manic depressive. But now it's called, Mr. Perfect, traumatic events, such as sexual abuse, distress, emotional abuse. So PTSD is part of that too. They've expanded it. It's not just for like veterans and things like that anymore. PTSD can occur for anyone. And and I will tell you, yes, correct, Jay. Very good. Wow, I'm learning folks these days. I'm learning folks. Look at y'all.
They've been waiting for you since last week, so they ready
I'm
with this.
learning folks. So usually what people call bipolar is manic depressive. That's what they used to call it, but now the formal diagnosis is bipolar disorder. And so it's wide mood swings from left. It's kind of like a pendulum, like you go one side to the other, kind of like that. Like you're happy 1 minute, then you're all of a sudden you're mad, upset, horrible the next minute. Everything's beautiful 1 minute, then nothing is going right the next minute. So it's just back and forth. Okay. Bipolar 1. We're talking about bipolar 1. So you have psychosis disorder 2. Okay, we're going to talk about borderline purple. So you're in this. Though the specific cause of bipolar within the brains are unclear and imbalanced brain chemicals. Mr. Perfect, I swear, folks be listening to me and stuff. This is just beautiful. Absolutely correct, Mr. Perfect. I love it. That is exactly correct. It is an imbalance in the brain. It is known. Bipolar is hereditary. So you can be born with this chemical imbalance because your parents had it, or grandparents, or a family relative had. Yes, you are right. You are exactly right, Mr. Perfect. See being in lives with me and stuff, it got you the gold star. Yay. So with bipolar, it is periods of extreme high energy, like feeling of euphoria, like feeling you're perfect and nothing can go wrong and everything is great and like you can stay awake forever. And usually, Jay, that's bipolar is one of the main causes of one of the leading diagnoses for people that do take their own lives. But then you feel very grand, like very purple. Yes, grandiose. That was exactly what I was about to say. And but then it switches, like then all of a sudden it switches where you were very depressed, extreme sadness, can't get out of bed, low energy, hopeless, feel like nothing. You've done psychology for 5 years about your mind. Well, that will do it. I've done a lot of schooling too, so don't worry. Um, and we'll talk about medication too. So that's what, and depression. So with bipolar, that's what a lot of those symptoms are for bipolar. Um, so like during their manic phase, people are very prone to risky behavior. Does this sound familiar, guys? For pop quiz, does this sound familiar? Risky behavior, um, extremely tired, impulsive.
That's me. Why are we talking about me? What are we doing out here? Right, DJ?
Fast-paced thoughts. Fast-paced thoughts. Are we? Remember a couple weeks ago when we was talking about borderlines, how the diagnosis. I'm not worried about Angie.
Angie, get your best.
So, but here's where it is. None of those. I wasn't describing borderline. I was describing bipolar disorder. All of those are in bipolar disorder.
I can't believe I'm happy to hear that. I can't believe I'm happy to hear that.
You're good, right? You're good. So that's one of the things. A lot of times you're okay with that. We're good. Okay. I'm glad.
We're all good. We're all
good. We're all good with that. Great. So I'm going to give a pop quiz. Okay. So give me some symptoms that I gave you guys about borderline personality disorder a couple weeks ago.
Oh, crap.
And don't be pointing to somebody and say him or her. That is not what I said. I said no names.
See, now I can't remember because I really
black and white thinking. Very good. Answer Rose. I love him. Wow. Mr. Perfect. Oh, they listened to me. They
did. I'm impressed. Hi, George. Welcome in.
So here's some borderline symptoms. Impulsive behavior, mood swings, unstable relationships, narcissistic behavior, ineffective coping mechanisms, so self-harming behaviors, risky behaviors such as sex or other behaviors that has too much metal in that my physician and therapist concerned in my and that's very that's very true. That very much can happen. So fear of remember the big one, fear of abandonment. Remember that one? Your fear of abandonment for borderline. So what is somebody with a borderline personality going to do? You're going to leave me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make sure that I leave you first, or I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on tight so you don't leave, one or the other. So that's basically what borderline is. You stay in relationships that aren't working. You intense emotional reactions of upsetting or disappointing life events. Like I'll give you an example. Say for instance, you are at the grocery store and they tell you, well, ma'am, Oma, I'm sorry, ma'am, we're out of sliced turkey. We're out of sliced honey baked turkey, but we have sliced oven baked turkey, and you just go ballistic on the
my head was thinking, are they telling that to me because they purposely are holding the turkey from me, or
see, those are irrational thoughts.
And then I would like hang around to see if a certain person,
if somebody would get honey turkey, like, And you'd be like this, like this, taping it so you could put it on the news. Like, see what they do? See what they do?
I was like reading, but watching the whole time.
Right. It's impossible to have more or one type person at the same time or different times to not fit. And yes, Mr. Perfect, exactly. You can have all of these symptoms or a few of these symptoms. You won't have all of them. You won't have every symptom of a borderline personality disorder. You won't have all the symptoms. Go ahead.
I want to interject real quick. Let Tender do her talk first. Like, she got like 5 more minutes. Let her do her talk, and then she'll bring you guys in, because we're gonna have all you come in the box, and then you can have a conversation with her. All right? She just want to get the points out first, and then we'll let y'all in. All right, go ahead. So,
and for borderline, also, people are very critical of themselves or each other. So that's what and they engage in self-harming behavior. So a lot of times you find people that have borderline personality disorders have cuts on their arms or cuts on their legs or something like that. So that's what borderline is. So the difference is, one is a mood disorder. So borderline is a personality disorder, where bipolar is a mood disorder. So, and what that means is borderline cannot be treated with medication, where bipolar can be treated with medication. So that's the easy way to kind of get it in and out. Like a lot of times doctors and therapists use this long drawn out process and all this, but I usually say, borderline, you need medicine. Bipolar, you need medicine. Borderline, you need medicine, but you can't get it because there is none. So kind of one of those things.
Angie, that's a lot. How you maintain your peace? I'm gonna ask that question to Tender after. My bad, Tender. Sorry.
So, oh no, you're fine. So a lot of times what'll happen when you start suffering these symptoms, and people realize it, and you go to a psychiatrist, and and it happens, you go to a doctor and they give you some kind of quiz, and they give you the quiz, and they, and if you get so many out of the quiz, that's what you're diagnosed with. I will say borderline is one of the most difficult diagnosis to treat. It's treatable, but it is one of the most difficult to treat, for the simple reason that most people that suffer from borderline personality disorder feel that they don't have it, or feel that they don't need treatment, or feel that everybody else, and I'm not saying anybody in this stream is that way. I'm just saying for I'm just saying for the so that is usually what happens, in general, because but that's what you would expect with a personality disorder, because it's a issue with your personality. It's something that has become you, that is you. And I promise you, people say, well, I don't know anybody like that. Yes, you do. Everybody knows somebody with borderline personality disorder. Everyone. So that is kind of my little gist of which is which. Like,
all right, so let's go ahead and welcome people into the box. If you want to come in, request the box. We're going to add you. And I just want to remind everybody that we are recording, because we're trying to get Tender seen more on social media. So if you do have something that is very, very private, please let me know. I will pause the recording, okay? And then to protect your privacy. But just remember, we're recording for the YouTube channel. Thank you, guys. All right.
Hi, Taylor. I have a question.
Sorry. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Nice to meet you.
So,
Yes,
Taylor, my
Jay.
question my question is, why is it universally unaccepted in domestic relationships when you not husband and wife, but boyfriend and girlfriend, when the either one has a problem accepting the fact that their person has this mental health disorder? Why is it always they're
Mhm.
running for the hills once they discover these personality traits are significant? They claim to be significantly red flags to them to be able to deal with or cope with that person they're
Mhm.
with.
Mhm.
Why is that? Well,
Good
I mean,
question.
why is it that people can't help and be a support system?
Because a lot of times with people suffering from borderline personality disorder, they don't want the help. They feel that inside that they don't need the help. When people try to give them help, it's almost like it's a pride thing. It's like, I don't need help. Why do I need help? You're the one that needs help. Like they throw it back on them. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody that suffers from borderline. I'm just saying in most cases that I have treated, they throw it back on the significant other. Like, I don't have the problem. You have the problem. And it's
No,
really
well,
their problem because of their personality.
what I'm asking, Tender, you hit part of it, but what I'm asking more so is, okay, let's say you and I are dating, and you recognize
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Or I
Mm-hmm.
come out and tell you after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
right? After I got
Right.
myself self-evaluate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you run for the hills because you can't handle that. And I feel like the stigmatization of people with this disorder are labeled in such a
Right.
negative way that it makes it, even like you mentioned before, having relationships. It makes it difficult for people to hold down relationships because of the stigmatization attached to it. That once a person comes forward and says, "Yeah, I have this condition," or "I'm schizophrenic," or "I'm manic depressant," or any of these type of mental health issues, the other person runs to the hill because they don't want to deal with it. And I'm like, why are they
Absolutely.
afraid if they're coming forward?
So Jay, one of the main reasons I got on this platform, and everybody that has known me from the beginning knows this, I am so pro mental health,
Yes.
especially with Black men. It's
Yes.
okay to be not okay. I don't
Yes.
care where you get help from. If you have to call me on IG, if you have to text me, I have been up at 4 o'clock in the morning
Leap.
talking to things. Go ahead.
Leap.
What were you? Oh, um, you know, I have done all of those things. I have been a strong force and a strong supporter of, it's okay to have a partner that has a mental health disorder. It's okay to stay with somebody that has a mental health disorder. That does not make you a weak person because you have a mental health disorder. What makes a person weak is not treating that and feeling like it's less than, not getting an understanding of it, feeling that feeling and being made like it's being made feeling guilty or emotionally blackmailed because you're a man and you're not supposed to have those feelings. You're not supposed to be sad. You're not supposed to be upset because somebody hurt your feelings. You're not supposed to be sad. You're not supposed to cry because you're not supposed to be hurt. And that's absolutely ridiculous. Everyone hurts. Everyone hurts. Men, women, children. I don't care what color. I don't care what race. I don't care.
I
Go
have a
ahead.
question.
Uh-huh.
No, because in honor of Black History Month, we are doing a lot more. For those of you that are not in the know, if you're not in the US, we are celebrating Black History Month from February. Today's February 1st. And I do have a question. Do you think that on a general worldview, a general perspective, people tend to look at a Black man and say he needs to be stronger than, say, a man of another color, whether it's a Chinese man or a white man, or because maybe back to slavery or something? Like, is that
I think
a
that for men of color, whether it's Latino, whether it's Black, and I even put Asian in that field too, because Asians are very, that culture is very anti-therapy, anti-medication, anti-mental health. So all of those. Um, I'll use black because for me, I'm biracial. My family's from the deep south. So my dad was a 6'4" black man. Can't get no blacker than that. Like, you really can't. So my father lost his mother at a year old, and he was told at a year old to not cry at her funeral. At a year old, 1 year old, and he couldn't cry at his mother's funeral.
That's crazy.
He doesn't have a picture of his mother because he was told that if he had a picture of his mother, he would be a weak man and he would cry because he didn't have her. So I grew up with a black man that was told that he couldn't have mental health issues and he couldn't show emotion.
Well, along those same lines, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm a person that's fresh from prison, and one thing I noticed in prison, which I thought was sad, is a lot of people that's not black in prison, and maybe it's like this on the street too, are more readily diagnosed with mental illness as opposed to being black, and they just say you're just a problematic person and just put you in a hole. In your professional opinion, why do you think that is? That we are deemed less needed for mental health and just problematic people, as opposed to being properly diagnosed with different diseases?
And Tender,
Did
what
you know that I was
know-
a probation and parole officer for 6.5 years with the state of Missouri? Did you know that? I promise you, I am not. I am not. And I actually, my caseload was co-occurring diagnosis. So I had all the people that had substance abuse disorder and mental health disorder at the same time that did not get treatment in prison. So what did Tender have to do? And Tender's not my real name, but what Tender, right? Very good, very good, Purple. Oh my God, yes, very good. Very good. It is that is, yes. So I had to find them treatment. Now I found that a lot of the white clients that I had, probationers and parolees, they had a psychiatrist, they had a therapist, but I found that black men didn't.
So why do you think?
Here's why. I think that the stigma comes from society. I think, because let's be very realistic. How many people have a family member that their family has told them that don't talk to, and I'm just using the name, don't talk to Clyde. No, I hope nobody's name is Clyde in this, because I'm not talking to you if his name is Clyde. Don't talk to Clyde because he's special. He's special. Something special about him.
You could use the name Kyle. Just use Kyle.
No, not my baby Kyle. But do I think that it's right? Absolutely not. Because I feel that, and I actually in my state went to Congress and had a bill brought up. I did. I know. I don't throw these little tidbits out for anything. I'm trying to be great in my life in 2023. But I actually brought a bill to Congress that required people get a mental health evaluation going into prison, simply because a lot of times you don't know what's going on with that person and the reason why they committed the crime. Because sometimes, and let me be very clear, sometimes people are just thieves, and some people are just bad people. That they're sometimes that's just what they are. But most of the time, there is a method to their madness, and there is a root to what happened. So you have to figure out what's in that root in order to get rid of it, to make it grow, or to make it bloom into something beautiful.
If I may interrupt for a moment.
Yeah.
If I can. So today in DC, early this morning, there was a shooting on the public transit system. Mm-hmm. They started on the bus and it led to the rail system. On the bus, the gunman shot another passenger in the leg, got off the bus, proceeded to the rail system, shot another person in the leg as well while they were trying to get a smart card to get on the train. Got on the rail system platform, confronted a woman, pulled the gun out on a woman, and then the Metro Transit employees tried to de-escalate the situation, shot both of the Metro employees that we call them Metro employees, killed
Mhm.
the 64-year-old senior employee, and wounded the other employee. So my mother and she was taking me to my physical therapist to drop me off. She was getting frantic, emotionally frantic over it. Like, how can what is wrong with these people? Basically, what she was saying. And I said, Mom, you can't just immediately go off like that. You need to take into account something could be wrong with them mentally. They may have a mental disorder. And to have a gun out on the street with a person with a mental disorder is serious. And the fact that a life was lost is tragic, it's sad, and I'm glad that the passengers on the subway system were able to tackle the guy and knock the gun out of his hand. But it goes to your point, Tender, about being evaluated once you're incarcerated or within, after the booking and the proceedings and everything before you go before the judge for an arrangement. Be pre-evaluated. Before
And
you
I've
stand
actually,
trial.
in my state, in the state of Missouri, that's one of the things on the Congress bill that I had to have before they go upon in front of the judge. Do they meet the criteria for a mental health evaluation? And if they do, that a mental health professional, evaluate them. What I found was, um, one of the reasons why white men and white men in this live, I know plenty of them. I love you guys. It's nothing against you. I'm just in general. Most of the time when white men have great lawyers and have the money for good lawyers, the first thing that happens is that the lawyers get them mentally evaluated. If you are working with a public defender, like most black men are doing, because they don't have the money for a private attorney, a public defender, they don't have time to get a mental health evaluation. I know a public defender and they have something like 200 clients. How do they get a mental health evaluation for 200 people? I mean,
Just
it's
want to do a
not
quick interjection. I want to hear from DJ because he's been sitting and waiting for a while. I also want to let you know that Purple is requesting the box. I'm pretty sure Nippa is going to request the box. So if you guys, yeah,
I can
I'll
jump
just want
out.
you guys
I'll jump out. I'll jump out.
from time to
No,
time. Yeah.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Oh, you're
Like I
listening.
really like all everything that I'm hearing, and I totally
good.
agree. I totally agree with the whole like they think that blacks are like problematic, and
Mhm.
instead of like taking the time to be like, yo, we really have, you know what I'm saying, stuff going on. It don't mean we have a
Right,
problem.
right.
We just have
Agree,
mental issues, like, and that's
agree.
not right. That's not right to be labeled like that. So I totally
Everyone's
agree
just
with that.
throwing the mental health
We're
card.
not.
They just
It's
say,
not.
"Oh, I've got
We're
bipolar,"
not all
or
bad
"I'm
people.
this," and that's it.
Correct.
Everyone just uses the word too loosely,
At
and
some
they're not
point, should
actually
there be some
really
type of
educated.
Wait.
mandate
Let's
for
have
that?
hold on one second. Let's not talk over
Pur-
each other because then nobody can hear
I don't
anything.
think Purple knows that. Purple, were you saying something?
Were you saying
Sorry,
something?
I'm in an Uber, so it is a little bit hard for me to. Um, the word is thrown around so loosely because the diagnosis, everyone's just been like, "Oh yeah, I'm so bipolar," or "I'm so this," and a lot of
Right.
people in like from Australian knowledge, I noticed, a lot of people, you get that mental health is from that love language from your parents. If you don't have that attachment, you are going to struggle. Also, if you are touching drugs and alcohol, that damage to your brain, getting diagnosis while you are under the influence, telling the truth, it is so fucking hard. Sorry for swearing. It is so hard for you to be so vulnerable, honest, and yet not get involuntary detained. you know, and then having a child or anything to say. It's really, it's very, very, very full on. But thank you for having me.
You're welcome, love. Thank you for your tidbit.
Thank you,
I can talk
Purple.
about this for ages, but thank you.
Well,
right.
at some point, shouldn't that be like a mandate? Like when I first went to state prison, I was 19 years old. And the very first question, and it was, I guess it was traumatizing because I always remember this question. The very first question they asked me was, where do you want your body buried when you die?
Oh wow. I'm not.
It,
You
in
guys got
19,
so tough
this,
over there.
Real quick, Purple, could you put your phone where there's nothing being shown so we don't get you in trouble?
I understand. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I like to tell what to do sometimes. Thank you.
yeah, make sure it doesn't show the road at all. Yeah, at all. Like
Perfect. Thank
maybe
you.
put on the seat next
I
to
appreciate
you. Yeah. I
Yep.
think
Nope.
that's
Done.
perfect. You got it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead,
Thank you
B.
so much.
And that is very traumatic. One of the things, okay, so and with you saying that, one of my favorite movies is Life by with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, and and
Oh,
it
live.
really
Yeah.
and it depicts, and sad as it may be, it really depicts how a black man is treated in prison, because like the black man was going for the wall. He really wasn't, but he was going for the wall and he got killed. He realized that he wasn't ever going to get out, and he was like, I would rather die than get out than never get out. And the frustration. So life to me, even, I mean, because that movie's what, 30 years old. Like that's a old
Yeah.
movie. Like that's an old movie, but it shows so much of what is relevant today, so that it was so ahead of its time then, because
Yeah.
mental
It's
health
amazing.
mental health has always been a taboo for everyone, no matter what color. And I think for, especially for blacks and Hispanics uh and blacks, Hispanics, Asian Americans, um we were taught at a very young age, we keep what's going on in the house and inside of our house. We don't tell other people what's going on outside.
it's
And
true.
we were taught that from a very young age. Like, you don't tell, now what
Mhm.
goes on in this house stays in this house.
A lot of pride. Yep. Yep. It's like a war.
Don't
It's,
The old
don't you be
soldiers used to
going
get
to
told,
school.
war stays at
Yeah,
war. Yeah.
right. Don't be going to school telling them what's going on here. And
Yep.
and my mom was a kindergarten teacher for 40 years in a school district that was probably the it was one of the worst school districts in the country. And she saw all kinds of kids um, coming in abused and all of those things. I can remember somebody throwing a firebomb into one of the students' houses and killing. They didn't kill the mother that was selling the drugs, but they killed the kids. And then the kids,
Wow.
and then and my mom, being a mandated reporter, she had to report, because she reported them a week before. And absolutely, Jay, I would love to come. So but for me, mental health is an everyday thing. I don't do this because I get paid big bucks. Trust and believe, it is not that. I do it because this is my calling. I love it. I love helping. If I can help one person.
Amen.
I was telling my mom this afternoon, I got a new client, and she texts me after we ended our session, her first session with me. And she said, I've never been to a therapist before, but because of your approach and because of how our first session went, I'm excited about coming to therapy next week. I'm ready. I want that. So for me, that's a win. And Uma knows me. Like I'm like one of these. My clients. I'm like a mama bear with my clients. Like I protect my clients. Like that, for me, my clients.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do your borderline
Go ahead.
patients split on you? Do your
Sometimes
borderline patients
I don't
split
have
on
a
you?
lot of.
Yeah,
They
that's
split as in leave me, or split as in
so like hey you I love you but go away but leave, like idolize you and then de-idolize
yeah,
you, like they think like
absolutely,
yeah, so like
all the time.
it's very hard to be a borderline person and get help. Yeah.
It is. And that's a very common that's a very common symptom of a borderline, because for a borderline, they are so afraid of abandonment that they either hold on for dear life, or they are, pushing you away. So it's one of those things. For me, this is what I do. Like I I think that everyone should definitely um definitely talk to somebody. I don't care who it is. It doesn't have to be me, but talk to someone. Everyone has the right.
Yeah.
Everyone has the right to not be okay, because everyone is not okay. Even I am, even me, who sees people 14 hours out of the day, and see other people in my spare time. Even I'm not okay.
Can I?
So
Yep.
go
Oh,
ahead.
I like that.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I'm doing outpatient therapy, so I agree with you. You know what I'm saying? I've been
Mm-hmm.
struggling with depression for years, like since I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's been a long road for me. So, and
And that's
it's
one of
that
the things
constant
that
feeling of like nothing's never good enough. Like
right.
whatever, no matter what you do for your friends and family, you bend over backwards, and it's like they're
Just
still
less
not
than
happy.
peace.
And it's just that constant strain on you. It's like mentally draining. So I get
Right.
So
how
yeah.
people feel kind of suicidal and want to end it, because they like it can destroy your whole life. It can.
It's like this. It's fight
It's
or
Isolation.
flight.
hard.
Suicide.
Yeah.
It's like fight or flight.
It's like so much
It's
you can take, and then you just want to just like, well, if I'm not good enough for them, then maybe I'm not good enough for this world.
and
And I
that
know
is
it's kind of
absolutely
messed
not
up to
true. And
think
if you
like
don't
that,
believe
because
it,
everybody is
come
meant
to a
to be in
lie.
this world. But at the
That's
same
absolutely
time,
not
that's
true.
what mental illness does to people. It
I'm gonna
makes
Yep.
come in
them
and come
feel
out.
like
I'll
that.
be back in a sec. Sorry.
And DJ, thank you for sharing that. But here's where I come in, because anyone that knows me knows that if you're in any stream, that anybody that knows me, and you say, hey, I need to talk to Tinder, they can come in, they know where to find me. I have
Hmm.
literally been asleep and woke up and came to Uma's stream. I have had pneumonia, came to her stream. I have, like, for me, like I said, I don't have, and I know I should have this on and off switch about it. I don't. And I know that's horrible, but I don't. But for me, I think that everyone deserves a chance to express themselves the way they need to express themselves. And
Hmm.
everyone deserves the chance to show how they feel.
Right.
And if you're not feeling good that day, then you're not feeling good that day. But you also
Right.
have to have people that are uplifting, and have people that have your back, because some days you need those people.
Yes. Agree.
So
Never fear, Purple's here. No, sorry. Sorry. I
you're
I'm
fine.
just home now. My
So
bad.
anybody
I
else have any
apologize for
questions?
my
Oh, you're
bad
fine.
before. I was in a shop and you messaged me and I was like, I can't miss this because I like, as an Australian, you like this American, you guys are the only Americans that I'm like, yous get it. Yous just
Well,
get it.
thank you.
Get it.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you. Well, I've been doing this just a little while. I've done it just a little while. Somebody told me today that this year would be my 30th high school year reunion, and I almost punched them in the face. So
I'm 30. You are amazing. You're like I want to pick your brain so much, and I'm so grateful to have come
Anytime.
and to now like
Anytime.
be in Adelaide,
So
in Australia. Yeah, I hate you, I love you, but go away, but leave, but don't, but stay.
I just want to do my little plug. Welcome in everybody. This is Wellness Wednesdays with Tender174. We're talking about several topics right now. We're talking about borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, Black men, and the mental health stigma. I just want to also remind you, hit her with a fave. Hit Angie Maria with a fave because her show is tomorrow. In the comment, Angie Maria and Tender. It's Tea with Angie and Tender. And they have more topics that are just like this, like conversational topics. And it will be an Angie Maria stream tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern. So hit her with a fave.
And I also have a Tender tidbit, and it's supposed to be on Wednesdays, but I don't know if I'm going to do Wednesdays because because this one goes so long. So I'm going to have to decide. Because people love this one. So hey Jenny, but I love it because this is like really, you think Tuesday, Angie, Tuesday might work.
I think, yeah, because
Tuesday might work.
Tuesdays Tender's tidbits, Wellness Wednesdays with Tender, Tea with Tender and Angie Thursdays. It's perfect. We own her now, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I love being owned, so it doesn't matter. This is what I do. So, but yeah. Now, who was the other person? Was there someone else that had questions that you said that you thought had questions?
Yes. If you have a question.
What about Black men and childhood traumas? Afro, actually, that was going to be my topic next week. Afro,
yeah, a lot of you guys are in jail. A lot of jail.
Yes.
So I've noticed that,
you know what? Are you doing topics for Black History Month, Tender? Is that what you're doing for February? Beautiful.
Yep. They're all about for Black History Month. They're all about something for Black History Month.
We just had Australia Day over here, and that is Invasion Day. So I love this because our Aboriginal people of our land, you know, the mental health that they are suffering because of this is all the generational cycle of trauma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And if you end up with the mental, physical, and emotional abuse from the edges of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you are going to end up with a pattern of, hey, do you like me? Because I don't know if I like me, but I like myself some days. But my mum doesn't like me, but do you want me to pay you to like me? I'm awesome. You know, does that make sense?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing
so it's a real sense of self.
Right. And the thing about childhood trauma is that's universal, but I think for Black men, it's something that's very embarrassing and they don't like to talk about it because it's such a private thing and they're told not to talk about it and not to discuss it. So that's something that everybody knows me. I love to
that's
poke
just gonna
the
lead
bear.
to self-destruction.
I love to poke the bear. So
I'm a woman in a man's world. You know what I mean? I don't think that I hate that because men, when they cry, that's so beautiful and real. It needs to happen. And this is just, if we keep talking about this, we will bring this up and that will make change.
The first thing I feel when a man cries in front of me is the first thing I really feel is like honored that he trusts me enough to cry in front of me because it's like it's such a emotional moment. And then I try to figure out how the best I can help him, you know, because I'm not a therapist. I'm just say like a girlfriend or a friend or something, and I just want to know how I can help him. But
vulnerabilities, yeah, it's hard.
So I have a confession to make.
Okay.
So like I go, the reason why, and I'm gonna tell you, I stream a lot and it helps me because when I want to vent, and you know, my fans have my support. Like they truly have my back. You know what I'm saying? And into this difficult time. So when I'm feeling like down, I just go live and they embrace me, they love me, and they just let me talk. And that's all I really want sometimes. And that really inspires me to keep on streaming more and more and more. Because I want to also help other people instead of like, you know what I'm saying, not just thinking about myself. Okay, I'm dealing with this, but it's a ton of other people in this world that's dealing with this.
See,
You know what I'm
I don't
saying? I want
stream.
to
I
share
don't
my
stream
story with
on
them.
my own. So I think people get more mad that I don't stream on my own, like for myself. I'm usually with other people, so I don't stream.
Yeah.
I think people would say I don't stream enough. Like I don't stream enough by myself. Like I'm always
I think it's
in
the old
somebody's
it's
stream.
not what you know, it's who you know. You know what I mean? Like the people that tell you things in your life because they see you, they hear you, they feel you. If they can
Yeah.
see you do something and you're not very self-aware and you have to learn about this illness by yourself, when you're in an episode, your cognitive ability does not bloody work. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when you are stressed and you are like
Jay,
that,
will you
you
come back
think-
next
you
week
think.
and we can talk about that? Because that's what's going to be our topic next week. I really want to hear
Maybe we could have
if
DJ
he
and Jay as
yeah, if you want to,
stream.
if you want to, if you want to, I don't want you to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing.
Do you believe that grief
Afro,
damages the brain?
absolutely.
Yeah, so DJ, Afro, and Jay, if you guys would remember to come back next Wednesday, we'll make you official guests of the stream for the
Absolutely.
topic. What was it? Black men and childhood trauma, right? Black men.
And being institutionalized, I suppose, because it's
Yeah.
Well,
like,
we could
it's
do
so
that
hard.
one with B6. B6 was institutionalized for 33 years, and he talks openly about it. I'm not sharing anything personal.
And we can do, and what I'll do, I can do one about Black men and mental health in prisons. I mean, I can do them for days. So
I like
I have
that.
topics.
When B6
I have
comes
topics
back,
for that.
I'm sorry, his name is Black. When Black comes back, I'll ask him for the following Wednesday. So then that way it will be the 7th and then the 15th.
Wait.
We have 2 topics.
No,
have you done one on
I can't.
grief?
I won't be here
Sorry.
on the 15th because on the 15th I have a prior engagement. I have to speak at, so I have to speak, and it's actually at a college, so I have to do that. But
or maybe
but
the 22nd.
but what we can do is, if you want, we can do it another day and have him on and do that, and we'll
Like a
still have it.
calendar.
The
Right.
Almost calendar.
So
Maybe
if
I like
anybody
linking
else
to
has a
calendar.
question about it, please don't hesitate. Like, I'm here for another few minutes. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So on YouTube, I'm gonna put Tender's IG in the comments on. Let me just hold on, just mute everybody for a second. I'm going to. Why can I not see where DJ is to mute him? That's weird. Okay. On YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. These are just a little bit of, I want to give you guys an idea of what we do in the streams with the Lotus Lounge family. And Tender, like I said, she is Tender174 on Instagram. So if you want to hit her on Instagram, say hello, drop her a comment, let her know if you enjoyed the video. She'd really appreciate that. Her IG, again, is Tender174. Did you want to say anything to the YouTube fans, Tender, before I stop recording?
I also have a YouTube channel, so if you join my YouTube channel, I will start doing a lot more on there. And my IG is Tender174_. There's an underscore after.
Underscore. Thank you. Yes, Angie put it in the comments. And also to Angie, drop your IG information, because Angie is also the host of another show that Tender will be on. And then Tender's going to get this video, so she'll post it to her channel. So, you know, we're supporting. There we go. Angie Maria. There we go. All right. Bye.